Hi everyone, welcome to Club 2 episode 12 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. So since the last time you and I were together in the previous episode, we've played a couple more games against Bangor City and Newtown, and we got a draw against Bangor and Newtown. We won 2-1 against. And the first of the two games was just very drab. Nothing happened at all. No real highlights to really talk about at all. And it was very disappointing. Second game, we played a bit better, although, they made it very difficult for us. But in the end, we came away with a 2-1 win. If we go and check in on the goal scorers, you can see Busumbru got his first goal in quite some time, up until like early October, I think. So that's good to get him back on the score sheet. He just dipped a little bit after his early season form, where you can see he was scoring so many goals for us. He went for a bit of a barren patch, but has put a penalty away in the early stages of the game against Newtown, and you can see that we got a second goal in the 5th minute as well, and then to a point hung on a little bit towards the end once they'd come back to 2-1, but in the end we got our win, which leaves us sitting in 3rd place currently. Everybody's played their 21 games so far, so we've all got one more game to play in this phase of the competition. After this game, it splits into 2 competitions, and the top 6 will continue to play each other for the rest of the season, another 10 games, and challenge for the title, which we currently sit 5 points off of, which is a little bit disappointing considering how close we were a couple of matches ago. But, a couple of draws, etc., have really caused us some problems. So, anyway, the challenge for the title is for another day. We've got one more game to play in the first phase of the Welsh Premier League, and today it's against Colwyn Bay, who have improved slightly in recent games, having been in and around the relegation most of the season. They've now found themselves slightly higher up, which is good for them. And so you can see that the break for 6 and above is set. Colwyn Bay can't close that gap, neither can Haverfordwest. So, or Cardiff Met Uni, that's very close, isn't it? All on 26 points, but there's 4 points difference between them and Bangor City, who've got the last of the 6 top spots. So the divide is set, as I say, and we find ourselves in the top half, which is great considering where we took over last season and they finished this phase in the 7th position, and we had to play the last half of the season against lower opposition. So it's good to be in and around the mix for these Euro spots and even potentially the title if things go well. But that's for another day. Today, Colwyn Bay. So I've got a couple of transfer dealings to let you know about. We've got a couple of players that will be leaving shortly. I'll tell you about them in a second. This is the guy that we spoke about last episode, Torg Bentka, and he's come in as a central defensive player, and he will get some starts here and there. He's got a good 3.5-star rating already, potential 5-star ability, so he will begin to get some play in the next couple of games. Probably in the next cup match that we play, just to see how he copes with that. But for now, we'll leave him out of the first team just while we finish off this phase of the Welsh Premier League. And the other one that I've bought in is a guy called Finlay Hazel. And the reason I bought him in is, one, he's got some reasonable attributes here and there. He's got some very poor ones as well, obviously, but that's the trade that you make at this level of football. But his pace is good, his decisions and determination are good, his vision's good, his passing's good. So central midfield wise, that's not too bad. And the reason we've bought both of these players in is that there's a couple of players that are now moving out, and one we spoke about last time, Kai Edwards, he's going to be moving out because his contract is coming up in a little while at the end of this season, and his potential ability isn't particularly strong, and he's 31, and I just decided I wanted to freshen up that defensive area with a little bit more younger blood. So that ultimately is why we brought Bentka in, and Hazel has come in to replace Harris. Now, Harris is 26 years old, absolutely done okay for us whenever we've needed him to. You can see his attributes aren't particularly brilliant, but they're fairly consistent through. Don't quite reach the heights of what Hazel's got in certain areas, but he's more consistent. But the reason we're letting him go, unfortunately, is one, his contract is up at the end of the season. And two, as somebody that's on our bench most of the time and played 15 games off the bench for us, he's one of our highest earners. And so I decided that I needed to get him off the payroll a little bit and just realign that slightly. So those two reasons are the reason why I've decided that he can move on. So we'll be letting those go in a couple of days' time whenever that kicks in. At this level of football, it's not that I'm selling lots of players and buying lots of players. You release lots and you bring in lots of free transfers and try and find the right blend and balance, and that's what we're doing on this particular occasion. There might be time for one or two other potential deals like that. We've got a couple of others that have got contracts ending soon, so I might look and see what else I can find, but if we can't, I'm not so worried about it, to be honest. We'll figure that at the end of the season. But that's the little bit of transfer dealings that we've done so far in this January transfer window. What it's meant for today's team is that Hazel will find himself on the bench, and Bentke not quite on the first team just yet. But as I say, in the next game when we play the Cup, he'll play in that game and we'll see what he can do. There's a couple of players out. Obviously, the two that I've mentioned, Edwards and Harris, are out because they're now ineligible, because I'm going to be letting them go. And Chris Owens, our normal left back, is also unavailable. He's just picked up a bit of a knock for a couple of days. So all that means that today's team for the game against Colwyn Bay is Brass in goal, Tatum at right back, Roberts at left back, Gardner and Edwards in central defence, Evans, Rogers, McBurney in central midfield, Fenlon on the right, Parry on the left, Pusumbru up top, and a bench of Hope, Harden, Hazel, Palmer, Sarmento, Fenlon and Graham. The only other thing to say is the reason Sarmento's on the bench is he's just coming back from an injury, so I didn't want him to play him from the start. I'll play him for the last 20 minutes or so probably and just get him some match fitness. So that's the decision I've made there. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I let the assistant manager, Jay Catton, do the team talk. He suggested we just encourage the players, give them a bit of a morale boost. He suggested to them, come on lads, show me what you can do. And it's got Pusumbru a bit confident. That's good, considering that he's just got his first goal in a while. We can see whether he can continue that form in this particular match. So let's get into kickoff. Oh, you can see that there's a little bit of frost or snow or whatever that is on the floor. On the ground, should I say. So obviously, it is snowing quite heavily, so we'll see whether that changes as the game goes on. But that's a new interesting condition that I've yet to play in, I think, so far in this series. So welcome to the snow. You can see that we are in our red kit, and Colwyn Bay are in their white with the black trim, it looks like. And we have a first opportunity with Pusumbru, and he really has found his scoring boots again. After so long without a goal, it's now 2-2 again for him, and he's going to go on another run, I hope, especially because we're just about to move into that second phase of the league, so it would be really important to keep him getting all the goals. So yeah, very nice move. He goes one-on-one with the keeper, does a little jink to his right, keeper is left stranded, and he puts it straight in the back of the net, which is great. And we lead 1-0 after a couple of minutes of the game. So very encouraging start. We'll see what the next highlight brings, but you can see in terms of the match stats, it's been a bit quiet so far, only a couple of shots, one for each side, and it's an opportunity for Colwyn Bay to come back at us now, and they go over the top themselves, and McDonough, so close, wasn't it? It was just slightly wide of the post and didn't really challenge our goalkeeper in the end, but we've got to watch for that ball over the top. But you can see his conditioning isn't particularly good. Their main striker, he's struggling already, which kind of would be a positive for us if they had to change that, really. But we'll check out what they decide to do with that at half time, maybe. All of ours are doing fine in terms of our conditioning, which is positive, but there's been very, very few highlights, haven't there, in that particular phase of the game. After we took the lead and they've had one opportunity themselves, other than that, it was very, very quiet. And you can see in terms of the match stats that it's not been particularly exciting, but Colwyn Bay have probably had the better of it. Well, they've definitely had the better of the play. So we need to buck our ideas up a little bit. So I'm going to assertively suggest to them, let's go with, this is a great opportunity to show the pundits that they've been right to back you. That's the one we're going to go for. Got a few bits of upturn in motivation, which is positive for a couple of players. So we'll see what that leads to in terms of performance in the second half. We had an opportunity with a free kick there, goes in deep onto the far post, but didn't quite make the most of it. Back to Parry down this right hand side, having taken the free kick there, and he attempts to get a right footed cross in, but it's well blocked, and they go long. But Tatum in our defensive area wins the ball back comfortably and gets it to Finland down this right hand side. He gets the cross in, partially cleared, but Parry picks up the loose ball down our left hand side, gets another cross in. Finland on the volley on his right foot, really unlucky, just slightly over the top of the bar, grazes the top of the net. And a bit unfortunate, but a good move on from Parry to Fenlon, and the corner comes in for us, and Fenlon has a couple of bites at it and doesn't quite go where we want it to, and then a bit of a wild strike it looked like from Evans. Was it Evans? Yes, it was. And it didn't quite trouble the goalkeeper, and they get away with one there, really. So you can see that we've come back into the game, which is really positive. But now we've got to potentially defend our penalty box ourselves, with Colwyn Bay attacking down their right-hand side. And they go back to the defensive area and then wide left. So they've transitioned the play right across the pitch, and they put it into the far post, and the header goes slightly over the top. Brass, our goalkeeper, was clambering over and dived to make sure he covered his goal, but the ball really didn't trouble him too much. We've got an opportunity now at 75 minutes to see what we can do to improve things for the last few moments of the game. You can see we've got a couple of low defensive ratings and a couple in midfield as well. So we're going to bring Fenlon off and Sarmento on, get him some game time. We're going to bring Parry off and bring the other Fenlon on, no relation if you haven't been with us before. And then we'll take Joel Edwards off and bring Levi Hope on, one of our other central defenders, just to give him a run out and see if he can close down those gaps that might appear in the last couple of minutes. So Tatum with the throw-in down our right-hand side to McBurney, back to Tatum. Cross comes into Basumbru, and if he's onside, that's a lovely header. We'll just have to check that slightly and we'll see what the ref has to say about it. Looks like it's been given, doesn't it, really? Obviously, there's no VAR at this level of football, but the throw-in comes in from Tatum, gets it back. Good deep cross into that central point, and Basumbru with a very calm header. And we take a 2-0 lead, unless there is an issue here. And there isn't. It was very close, wasn't it? But he did just stay onside, and that's good attacking play by Basumbru. And he really has found his form again just at the right moment, leading into the second phase of the league. So really positive. But back come Colwyn Bay, and that was a gilt-edged chance, wasn't it, really? I think as the manager of Colwyn Bay, you'd be fuming that they missed that one. Completely free on goal and fluffed his lines. The corner comes in, goalkeeper gets a good hit on it, but what a strike that is. I was just saying that the goalkeeper did really well. I thought he got a good parry on the ball, good punch out. Watched the punch out onto the edge of the box, but it falls just so nicely to Mohammed, and on the volley he just puts it calmly into the back of the net. No problems at all. And that's the last word in the game, really. Was a decent goal for Mohammed from Colwyn Bay, but it didn't ultimately change the result, and we've got to be happy with that. The last part of this league phase, we got a good win, so we'll tell them such, get the players a bit happy and sort of a bit more motivated for what's to come. You can see the next game coming up is a Welsh Cup game, and we will now start to find out, I'm sure, what the new league format's going to bring us in terms of the schedule for our upcoming games. So Connors Quay Nomads fortunate to beat them. Well, okay, fair enough, we'll take it. Basumbru on form again, which is really positive. People are coming to watch players. Apparently, we're not able to get rid of Kai Edwards because we don't have the money to cover the compensation fee, and the same with Harris. I'm going to have to get rid of them through sales, loans, something like that if I can. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Might have to wait till the summer. We'll see. Anyway, that's for me to sort out at another point. The Welsh Premier League prepares for the next stage after split. So we'll go and check out whether we've sorted our schedule for that out yet. It looks like we have. So what have we got coming up? So first off, we've got a cup game, which I will play some second string guys in. I'm not so bothered about the cup this year. I really want to focus on the league now that we're into the position that we are. And we've probably got 3 episodes that we'll do through this, and we'll come back in the next episode and play the New Saints, which currently sit top of the table, I think, unless anything's changed. We'll check that in a second. Then we'll come back and probably play Barry, and then we'll probably come and play the last game or so in the division, dependent on where we are in the standings and what's at stake. So if we go into the competition page, you can see that the New Saints currently sit top, 4 points clear of Kevin Druids, and we're 1 point behind them, so still 5-point gap. But that's really encouraging, as I say, from last season where we didn't quite make this split, and we now find ourselves playing against the top sides for the remainder of the season. So that's going to be good fun, but really hard. We'll have to wait and see how well we get on. But that's for another day. So thanks very much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. If you are, why not subscribe to the channel? Keep up to date with the videos. If you particularly like this episode, then why not click a like on it for me? That helps me get seen by other people, which is really important for the growth of my channel. I hope you're enjoying your Football Manager save, whatever it is. Let me know how that's going on in the comments below. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I will see you soon, and bye for now.